Organized to Do Jehovah's Will, a book that most of us are very familiar with. This particular book was printed in 2005 by the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society, and it says there at the bottom, made in the United States of America. This book is used by the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society to bring candidates into a baptism position. What happens next is that they will answer a set of 3 sets of questions before they can be put through a baptism and a public declaration to the Watchtower itself. I want to bring to the viewer's attention one particular page, one particular question with many sub-questions that come from it, that will be asked to a candidate that is about to become baptized. As I read through, I ask you to think about these questions and whether or not you think it is appropriate that these questions are even in this book. Remember, this is a question for baptism. And so I quote from page 196 at the bottom there, question 9. And it says the following: to avoid transmitting an infectious or a potentially fatal disease to others, why should an infected person A. not initiate public displays of affection such as hugging or kissing? B. Attend the congregation book study at the Kingdom Hall if at all possible? C. Not react negatively when some choose not to invite him into their homes? D. Why should a person who may have been exposed to an infectious disease, involuntarily choose to have a blood test before beginning a courtship? And my favourite one of all, E. Why should one having a communicable disease inform the presiding overseer before getting baptized? Why should he or she inform the presiding overseer? Well, we now know that that's the congregation overseer, that they have a disease before they get baptized. Depending on where you are in the world, there are many strict laws about confidentiality and about exposing that confidentiality to others. This particular book, with the elders that would work through this book with the candidate, will be looking at those questions very carefully. An individual that wants to get baptized would need to answer that particular question correctly in order to be baptized. And the answer that they would give to E would be, yes, of course, I will make sure that if I was in a position to have an incurable disease, an infectious disease, I would make sure that the presiding overseer knew about it. The question then you have to ask yourself is, what does the presiding overseer do with that information? Does it remain confidential? Or does he then share that information with the body of elders? I think I'll leave that one very much with you to consider. What I would say is that if, for instance, you are an individual that is coming into this religion with, say, for example, HIV, you are in a position here to be stigmatized, to be discriminated against, to be put to one side as something unclean. You will be treated like an outcast, even though they will smile at you. These are the reasons why they come forward with questions such as this. And so I go back to what I was trying to get at from the beginning with this posting. Why is this a baptismal question? Why is it in there? So we all have to ask ourselves the question. This is a cult. This is all about control. This is all about what they decide is clean or unclean. But the law of the land would have a very, very different view of this wording. I deem this wording extremely offensive now that I read it, as I'm sure many of the viewers that are watching this will find it extremely offensive. There is much collateral damage that can be caused by this type of stigmatization, by this type of discrimination. And I, for one, am absolutely appalled by the fact that these questions are even in this book. Thank you for listening.